I grew up as a young child not having freedom, remembering knocks on the door and having my father being taken away, not knowing in the middle of the night whether he would be brought back. Freedom is not for free. And freedom is not ensured for eternity. As Ronald Reagan said, freedom is only one generation, and it's up to that generation to preserve it and fight for it and pass it down to the next generation. And somehow or another, we may be losing that.
U.S. Ambassador Aldona Wos grew up under communist rule in Poland, in a home where freedom was a dream and danger knocked at her door. Welcome, Aldona Wos.
Thank you for joining us. If you're enjoying these interviews, hit that subscribe button. I'd like to start by diving into your upbringing in Poland. During that time, you described freedom as a memory and a dream. Could you describe that experience and how that shaped your views on liberty and democracy?
Well, thank you. Perhaps as briefly as I can for our listeners to understand the background, I was born in communist-occupied Poland, and I come from several generations of freedom fighters. My grandparents were born into a free and democratic country, Poland, but World War I started, and they were taking as slave labor to Germany. Subsequently, miraculously, they survived and they came back to again, after World War I, back to their home country, Poland, to again live and work and maintain and fight for their free country. But history was not kind to them because World War II happened. And during World War II, if you can imagine this horror of history, those same grandparents now had children of their own and World War II happened. And during World War II, they and their children and all my aunts and uncles and grandaunts and granduncles, the entire population, or all 34 million people in Poland, were fighting for their freedom, their democracy to continue. And they had two enemies, as we all know, Germany and Russia. And during the fight of World War II, my grandparents and my father were actually recognized by Israel as righteous Gentiles for rescuing their lives to help people who were different than them, helping Jews to survive the World War II activities. But unfortunately, my grandparents, all my aunts, all my uncles, my father, everyone was subsequently taken to concentration camps. And my father was prisoner number 23,407 in Flossenburg. So their freedom once again was taken away. Some of the members of my family did survive liberation. My father and grandfather survived because they were liberated by General Patton's 3rd U.S. Army. Because of that, I'm alive. But I was born under communist rule because the end of World War II happened at Yalta, where the freedom of countries and millions of people was unfortunately given away without their permission. So I grew up as a young child living under not having freedom, remembering knocks on the door and having my father being taken away, not knowing in the middle of the night whether he would be brought back. I remember vividly asking my mother, why is father's briefcase always by his bedside and not on his desk? And I was informed, in case he has to leave quickly or we have to leave quickly in the middle of the night, we take our documents. So I grew up without a lack of freedom. And for me, it is my moral obligation now as an American to protect the freedoms and the liberties and the democracy of this country so that my children can live in the same glorious country as I do now.
And what do you think is one of the biggest things that stand against that?
As I look through the years of living in the United States, and obviously I'm an older adult, I see a significant difference in all generations, and they're either not remembering history not remembering where they came from, and not remembering what they fought for, and not knowing what they really need to preserve. Freedom is not for free, and freedom is not insured for eternity. As Ronald Reagan said, freedom is only one generation, and it's up to that generation to preserve it and fight for it and pass it down to the next generation. And somehow or another, we have, I feel that we may be losing that if we're not careful.
Yeah, and I mean, what can we do as people, organizations do to uphold that principle, to stay in having freedom?
So several thoughts here.
At Juliant, we're with you at every milestone, and your brightest dreams never have to fade. At Juliant, we help you shine. That's brighter banking. Juliant Federal Credit Union.
Number one, it is our personal obligation towards ourselves, and therefore our family, our community, and our country, to be well educated. It is our responsibility to make sure that we know facts, that we know history, that we know geography, in order to be able to understand current events. And if you understand current events by knowing knowledge of the past, you will be able to shape your decisions and shape the future of the country for your children and grandchildren. So education, I would say, is number one.
And once you have that, I mean, you can see trends that are, you can kind of see like, oh, these are some of the steps that led to this back in the day. And then we're seeing the same thing now, so you can kind of not guess that it's going to happen, but, take a look at it and be like, wow, history's repeating itself.
Yes, and that's why it's really our obligation to pay attention to our surrounding, to what we're being exposed to what we're being told, and what we're not being told. And be able to look at things through the prism of, first and foremost, common sense. And then of course, other issues of factual accuracy, but just common sense.
And I feel like now we're bombarded with so much information to kind of hide the truth almost in plain sight. It's like if they put 100 different things in front of you and 2 of those are the right thing, common sense sometimes.
Well, that's why I put it at the top of the list, because generations past, we would be able to simply learn everything we needed to learn from our parents or from school. And that's not what is available now. So if you don't have the benefit of coming from a family that puts priority on education, and if you don't have the benefit of yourself being intellectually curious, you may be just exposed to part of facts, and therefore by knowing parts of facts, and that's all you know, you're making these assumptions and decisions. But if you knew these facts, you probably would make different assumptions and different decisions.
And some of that bombarding us with things that aren't true. I mean, I think one of this is like removing faith from institutions. I mean, what do you think that role plays in?
So the importance of religion, faith, I think is one of the most important things in societies. In my view, cultures are different, countries are different. We're different in geography, history, religion, upbringing, customs, traditions, but religion has always served an enormous purpose. Would explain it, it's like a box. And the box has a bottom to it. And most religions serve the bottom of that box is a protective mechanism so you don't fall through. That when terrible things happen, there's someone to help you, there's some safety net. The sides of the box are, this is what's acceptable. And it prevents us from going off into areas that would create harm to us and others. And then a box usually has a lid on it. And that lid prevents us, while we're alive, from being able to explode again into unnecessary or destructive situations. And at time of our death, that lid in religion is lifted so we can get to the next level, the hope for another life or the future or another hope. So religion is very important.
I agree. I mean, I put God first. I try to, best as I can in my life, and even in times of uncertainty, he always leads my path and always guides me. And sometimes it's tough to put God first, because I mean, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what something's going to turn out to, but you're putting your faith in him. And I think more people need to start doing that, because I feel like we've gotten away from that.
And it's a shame, because God offers us hope. And if you don't have hope, that's a really dark place to be in. And God also offers us happiness, and God offers us opportunities to think a little deeper and trust our own instincts in situations. And we've all been in situations where we don't trust our instinct,
Yes.
that it never works out. Yes?
100%.